It's late.
Oops.
More like 4.
This is how it is today on Pop Culture Minefield. This is how it is today. This is how it is today on Pop Culture Minefield.
Bum, 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 bum. Yay! It's Monday. Martin is sick. I have pinched a nerve in my back. Joe is on the wrong camera, and Anima is being visited by her aunt. So, yay!
But we're going to get through it. Don't you know?
Between the four of us, we might reach at some point close to 100%.
Maybe. Maybe.
So, yeah. Oh,
And apparently Pope is not out of the job yet. Because he would be here otherwise.
yeah, he didn't even respond to the email. So I'm guessing Pup's not going to be here this week. I can't remember what day he said. I just knew that he was ending his job, current job. So until he gets another one, he'd be able to join us on Monday mornings.
Well, you usually end by the end of the month. So it would make sense for him to be jobless right now, but who knows?
It kind of sucks, though. I feel bad. But, you know, when he told me we were on another show, and he goes, "Hey, I got good news, Gary. Good news and bad news." I said, "What's that?" He said, "I'll be able to join you guys again. My job's ending." And I went, "Yay, you're being fired."
Typical
Was that
Gary
real genius?
reaction.
I'm both happy and sad for you.
Both happy and
Yeah.
sad.
Hi, Penny.
Morning,
Penny.
Penny. Oh, let's see. So this movie was shot the year before I was born and released the year I was born. And I had seen it when I was younger, and I loved it as a kid. I was telling Anima, I was like one of those weird kids that was watching grown-up movies as a kid.
You've always
And,
been
Oh,
weird.
yeah, you and me both, man.
Hey,
Yeah.
Meth.
I
Hi,
loved
Meth.
adult movies when I was a kid.
Not adult movies.
Not, come on, man.
Oh, my
Grown up movies.
You
Is that
use the
better?
words.
God, you guys got to twist things, I swear.
Because I liked pornography as a kid too.
Well, you were a monkey.
Yeah, we like to. We had a club outside of school, a bunch of kids, and you had to know at least 4 dirty words to join the club.
How many kids had you draw nudes for them?
Oh man, dude,
I
I
had
don't
a
even want to
few.
get into that. And you know, my middle son, that's what he did for years to make money. Is
Really?
he drew hentai porn?
Oh, wow.
And,
Oh, shit.
he says, "I want to show you my portfolio, but I'm so nervous to show you." I went, "Don't be embarrassed." And then he like showed it to me, and I went, "Oh shit! I've never seen so many veins in a dick before. Holy shit!"
That's
And I was like really taken a little back by it at first, not
Right.
offended, just like
No.
really surprised by it.
Yeah.
And but he's very good. You know, all my kids are good artists.
Yeah, I used to draw stuff out of Playboy for my friends when we spend the night and stuff, you know. So,
Meth knew 7 dirty words. I was in a school. It was called Lab School. It's part of the university, and it
mhm.
was for advanced kids. I should have gotten an idea that I was smarter than the average bear when I got put into that school, but nobody told me. So, and it was kind of cool and like after school, we all decided to get together because we lived within a few blocks of each other, and we would get together and we founded a little club. And in order to get into the club, you had to know at least 4 dirty words. adult work. And that was fun. Also, and I don't know what was going on, man, back when we were kids. Man, you'd find pornography in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah. There'd be like a soapbox and like clearly somebody had a little fire or something, and you'd find underneath a box or a crate, you'd find fucking porn out in the woods.
What?
Yes.
That is so weird.
I
It
found
was
it under my dad's
crazy
bed
time.
when he wasn't home. That's when
That's the
where I
place
found it.
to
That's the
find
other
it,
thing. My
yeah.
brother Michael and I got into my parents' room and found his Playboys.
Yeah.
And it was underneath the mattress, in between the mattress and box spring. And Mike says, I saw this the other day when I was helping mom make the bed. So, and then dad years later, said, oh, I didn't have it pornography. And I'm like, because I told you about getting in trouble because I drew Robin, I think I was 11, and I drew a picture of Robin banging Wonder Girl.
Nice.
And my dad, he didn't know how to get upset about it because he says, it's really well drawn. And it's hard for me to get mad about it because it's so well drawn.
Right.
You have got to stop this. Don't do this again. And if I was like smarter when I was 11 or have a smarter mouth, I always said, I'm going to check the trash later to make sure you threw that away.
Was he pulling the Deadpool on you? You can't do this anymore. I'm so proud of you.
Kind of what that was. One definition of porn could also be broad. A copy of Vogue with some, hey, dude, the Sears and Montgomery Ward catalogs.
Dude, the underwear models? Yeah.
For us prepubescent and newly pubescent kids, that was sometimes all we had.
That was it.
Unless you wandered into a campsite of some hobo that had porn.
Right.
It's true, Anima. You would just randomly find this stuff out in the woods where somebody went out there to whack off. That was their little private stash.
That must be an American thing because I spent a lot of
I have
time
no
as
idea.
a child in the
I'm
woods
sure-
and I never found shit
Now,
like
wait a
that.
minute. I'm certain Europeans whack off
Yeah,
too.
come on, man.
Because
Not
I've met
in
a
the
lot of them,
forest,
and
though.
they are jerk offs half the time.
Yeah, but not in the forest, and they don't leave their porn behind.
They got forests everywhere. You get the Black Forest, for God's sake.
Exactly, and it's full of werewolves, vampires, and shit. No,
Nobody's gonna jerk off
Probably-
there. They're afraid of being
Yeah.
killed.
Safer to not do that.
That's funny.
Oh my God, that's funny. It is. Oh, excuse me a second. I'm
Well,
having a rough day today, guys. I apologize. I pinched a nerve yesterday. Don't know how.
probably
Thankfully-
sneezed.
I have a doctor's office, doctor's appointment today, and I'm going to talk to them about. Give me a fucking muscle relaxant.
Come
Give me
on.
something.
Help a
Stop
brother
telling me
out.
no.
I mean, they say they would if they could see you, and the first
And they're
possible
seeing me.
appointment was in 3 weeks, but they see you today, and you're in pain today. So don't walk out there
There.
without one.
It's almost like God said, "Hey, I took that pain away for a couple weeks. You're welcome." Yeah, it's back again. You're welcome. Right when you need to see a doctor, you're welcome. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about right there. The Sears catalog lingerie section.
That's it, man.
For us young kids, man, that was our porn.
Happening.
Man.
For us red-blooded American males, yes.
That reminds me, one of our neighbors, holiday home neighbors, he had a super religious wife, and the newspaper he would read would have a pinup on, I think it was page 7. So he was only allowed to read that newspaper after she had cut it out, and she went behind the house and burned it.
Oh my God. Yeah, see,
She
there
was
you go.
so
That's a mom
crazy.
ahead of the curve. She was ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
She knew boys will be boys. We are fascinated. I remember playing doctor.
Wait,
one
the
time
weird
as
thing
kids.
is, he was a doctor. He saw naked people all the fucking time, and she had an issue with that in the newspaper.
Yeah, sure. Patients are one thing. We were playing doctor one day when I was a kid, and this one girl, she was a friend of my sister's, let us like look at her, and I grabbed a twig and I pushed in, and it came out the backside between her thighs. But we thought, oh my God, it goes all the way through. We're so stupid.
Anyway,
I
we
was
have a
first
war.
grade.
We have
I
a
was
war
in the
movie to
first
talk about.
grade. I was in the first grade. I didn't know it. It was like fucking
How
6
did we
years
get
old,
on
man.
this subject anyway?
I don't know, but I want to leave it.
Because you're guys. You think
We're
with your
guys.
dicks.
You
That's
got brought
how.
up. Shit happens. Stop
Yeah.
being pussies.
Right? Chill out. Meanwhile, Burt Lancaster is right between all of us. Looking
Yeah.
tough. Looking tough.
That, you're goddamn right.
Dude,
That's Burt Lancaster's laugh, by the way.
Yeah.
Way you would do that. I
between
fucking
this
love his laugh.
intro and Saturday show, I'm amazed we still have a channel.
Yes.
I'm
Sometimes
not.
I wonder that too.
YouTube makes money off of this, so
Yeah.
they're
They
not going
just-
to complain too much.
They just
They're
don't
not
want
upset.
us to make money off of it.
Well, that's just it. They continue making money off us even when they punish us.
Yes.
So yeah, of course. So this film has one of my favorite actors of all time, specifically one of my favorite not only actors but Shakespearean actors, Paul Scofield, in it. What did you think of his accent, Anima?
I think he did well. It was okay.
Yeah,
I've
it's
heard
not
worse.
overboard. He doesn't do the overboard thing where it tries to sound like a harsh German. It was more subtle. Almost, I mean, do you think it was closer to being like somebody from Austria than Germany?
I can't really say, but to me it seemed like, wow, for a German in that time, he spoke really good English. That's the impression I get off of him. Like, that's really good English for a German person in the 40s.
Yeah, it's outstanding film. And like I said, it was shot in 63 and released in 64. And it was just a film where they made the decision not to shoot on color. That was Frankenheimer, the director's idea. He felt that because this is a World War II story, he wanted it to feel like a World War II story. And he opted, when film was in color at this point,
Yep.
to go black and white. And that's why it was so insulting when Ted Turner colorized this film. And I went looking, I couldn't find anything because I know Frankenheimer was alive when he did that.
Did you know
And,
that he wasn't the original director? He took over when they were a week into filming.
Yeah, because
Because
the
Lancaster-
directors, they were having trouble with the director. Yeah.
Lancaster hated Decker's idea and where the movie was going. And he just came from making movies that didn't turn out to be great successes. So he needed this to be successful. And for that, it needed to contain way more action. So he
Well, I
brought in his
thought,
friend.
I thought, first of all, the opening scroll on it
Well,
really paid tribute to the guys who worked the rail station, and I liked the factual stuff they put in it, like the repair job he had to do when the guy sabotaged the oiler, where they
Yeah.
actually showed the smelting process of him making
He
a
learned to
new
do
part.
that, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool shit. For somebody that worked in manufacturing for a long time, we used to, of course, with today's tech, you do it with lathes and metal cutting machines, CNC machines and stuff. But manufacturing and always has to make their own parts, and I thought that was very interesting how they did that. It was very cool.
He also learned how to lay explosives.
Mhm.
He didn't just do his own stunts.
Well,
at
he was
50 years
actually
old. He learned
a
everything.
veteran.
I was figuring to say Burt Lancaster was in the
Yeah,
military.
he
wasn't
served in World War II.
Oh.
So, yeah, he was a fucking real dude. He was also a trapeze artist, gymnast. And in the pirate film he did all of his own stunts in that one too. Did a lot of swinging, flipping, and shit like that, and sword play. It was a fun film if you ever get to see it. But he absolutely was a trapeze artist. And after he got injured, he had to find a way to. Hold on a second.
All I know is you look up tough guys in Hollywood, man, and he's on the Mount Rushmore of it. So, you know.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
look,
He's got
him
a
and
face
Kirk
looks like it's
Douglas.
been carved out of granite, you know? I mean, shit.
He and Kirk Douglas worked together a lot over the
Yeah.
years, and they were kind of frenemies. They were friends, but they're also kind of very competitive with each other. They got along great,
Mm-hmm.
but they would have little minor issues on sets and try to one up each other all the time. They pushed each other. Is really what it was.
Hey,
Which is
man,
why they
the
were
really
so
great
good.
ones do. I mean, you know all the stories about McQueen and Newman, you know. So.
Yeah, and the wonderful thing about Lancaster, he and Heston both had this resonating way of talking,
Oh,
over
dude.
enunciation. You know,
Yeah.
gritty. Heston was known for doing this. And
Mm-hmm.
Lancaster, on the other hand, was really fast in his dialogue. If you ever watch him, like Elmer Gantry, watch how he delivers some of his dialogue. It's so fast.
Yep.
And it's not like he's a fast talker. He just very
But
rapid.
he enunciates everything.
delivery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good. Yep.
And also with the harsh teeth close off of words.
Yeah.
Both of them notorious closing off of words with their teeth. Hudson, Hudson. A lot of people don't know this. Rock Hudson was drummed out of the military during the Korean
Whoa.
War
Huh.
because the joke was he destroyed more American planes than the enemy. Because he did. He got caught in an incident where he destroyed on deck of a ship. He was in the Navy and destroyed some planes.
Damn.
And yeah. And so
Cute.
there you go.
Yeah, they tend to
Yeah.
not like that very much when you make a screw up
Wonder-
like that that costs some $1 million. Yeah.
I
they
Yeah.
wonder
tend to
why.
not like that.
Hey, we have a new viewer today, Charles Vanacor. Welcome.
Welcome.
See it.
And Tim is here too.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. Not Tim. Not Tim.
You
Not
all
the
know-
enchanter. Not the enchanter. What?
You all know what that means, right?
I know exactly what that means.
Oh.
I know exactly what that means.
So here we go.
By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
So I got to tell you guys, last night, before bedtime, I actually watched a movie that I haven't seen since I was, I think I was 6 years old, five or six, when I saw it with my brother Steve in the movie theater. It was called The Magic Christian, based on a book that came out in the 50s.
Hmm.
And got Ringo Starr and Peter Sellers, and Monty Python's involved with it. Paul McCartney was involved with it because he wrote the main song for the film. If you want it, here it is. Come and get it. No, that's
Really? Okay.
that is the weirdest fucking movie I've ever seen, and it's so funny because that was a nightmarish film for me when I was like a kid. I'm like, because Christopher Lee plays a vampire in it. It's the most bizarre film I've ever seen. But once I went back and I read what the original text was on the book, I went, oh, I see what they were doing. Man, did they miss the mark with that movie. Because the book was about a guy that was rich that wanted to go around and use his money to prank other people, especially other rich people, just to mess with them. So there he is. That's Paul Scofield. He is in this museum there. And the curator of the museum is like, thank you so much for what you've done. He says, you shouldn't thank me, and
Yeah.
he basically he's warning her in advance because she believed that he did what he did out of love for artwork. And when you get down to what's really happening in this movie, it has nothing to do with the Yahtzees. It has everything to do with he knew the war was winding down and he wanted that artwork for himself.
He wanted that moolah, muchacho.
No,
No.
he wanted
He
to
liked the art.
possess the
Yeah.
artwork.
That's
think-
we find that out in the last
You
scene.
don't think he wanted it for the money too? Priceless works of
No.
art? I don't know.
Watch the
I
last
don't
scene.
No,
Watch the
no.
last
When
scene.
you
He wants
pay
to own it.
attention to his passion,
Mhm.
and he's willing for anyone to die so he can keep his precious artwork. That's
Yeah.
why he was there every day. He was there out of love for the artwork
I
and out of
gotcha.
his own personal avarice. He is a villain of a different kind.
Yep.
He's really kind of a Lex Luthor guy, and
Right.
out there for his own personal gain. He doesn't care about the value of it. He wanted to own this artwork and keep it to himself, and you find out a lot of these rich people who buy illegally stolen artwork, they don't show that artwork to the public. It's all for them. And that's what makes them really evil people, in my opinion.
Because that stuff's supposed to be shared. That's why it was
It's
made.
supposed to be shared,
Yep.
and they just want it for themselves. And that's what this guy, and Paul Scofield really is. If you've never watched this guy, go look up films of his and just discover Man for All Seasons with Robert Shaw. My God, this guy could act.
Mhm.
And he's so good as the ghost of
Hamlet.
Hamlet's
Hamlet's
father.
father.
With Mel Gibson. He was so good in that. And one of the last things I remember seeing, he did a great production of King Lear. Beautiful production.
Hey, Ian Fleming is here.
Look out.
I mean,
Hey, Glenn.
I mean Glenn Fleming, our version of Ian.
Hey, Glenn, are you named after the Flemish language?
You lose, Mr. Bond.
Also, that Ritter Cruise around his neck is too small. It's just an Iron Cross, second class, wrongly worn. Yeah, you got me on that one. You got me on that one. I really don't know enough. I know certain things like you'll see when one of the vehicles pulls up outside, you'll see two of the security soldiers that have that little plate they wear. No shit. That's fucking cool, man. Yeah, the square heads versus the round heads, man. When I was a kid, I thought that was like, is that a Peanuts reference? I asked my dad. I'm confused, but are you talking about cartoons? And he's like looking at me like, no. Fucking history, you idiot. I'm looking 5. Oh my goodness. Hopefully YouTube won't gank us over the flag being shown. It's going to be real assholes.
Well, it's
That's
inverted,
ridiculous,
so
though. Yeah.
maybe the bot doesn't
Maybe you can
recognize.
get away with it. Yeah. Yahtzees. And their ilk. Bunch of bums.
These are stills from a fucking movie. Who has a problem with that? It's not
Right?
like we're
YouTube.
doing propaganda
YouTube's
here.
got all kinds of problems. Don't even get me started.
Yeah. I know.
They're a bunch of Yahtzees themselves.
I went through a list of the things that will get you ganked. And I'm serious. Some of the words I'm like, what are you talking about? How is that? Like, I don't even understand some of the words that will get
That
you
list upset
snagged
me.
by I sent it to you. Yeah. You
Yeah.
saw the weird words that were on that list. Like, how are
Oh,
these
please,
words
can you
getting
send
to
it?
you?
Can you send it to me?
Yeah, Anima, go ahead, send it to him.
Well, I'm never going to find that. That was like 2 weeks ago in our private messages. It's going to take me hours to scroll that far back.
So
Also, I think it was in a management group anyway.
So he's trying to convince this, I don't know what he is. Is it possibly a general? He's higher ranking no matter what. And he's trying to get permission to move this by train because he was told he can't move it by train. And so he's like, I don't have time for this. And he goes, well, if you want to continue your war, one of the best ways is to sell artwork. So he's doing this for his own personal needs, but he's lying to him. Because I do believe many of the command knew the war was over.
Well, everybody
Yeah,
knew the Allies were coming. Everybody
I
knew
asked
that.
you. I asked you.
Oh, you're
pre-show-
talking in 1066. Okay. During the Battle of I forgot the name of the battle. I did a whole graphic novel on it. I even wrote part of I had to write the battle scenes because he wrote the
Are
battle
you?
scenes.
Oh yeah, lots of horses had to be drawn for that.
Yeah, there's 124-page long graphic novel, and 88 pages of that was horses.
Gary's
And
never going to draw.
Graham
horses.
Nolan asked me, "Was there anything that you hate drawing?" I said, "If I never draw a horse again, it'll be too soon."
Yeah, I asked you
Apparently, they said I was good at it.
about how many films they made like this. That it's clear the war is damn near over, and they all know it. They know that the Allies are coming.
Well, we've driven them out of Paris at
Mhm.
this point,
Yeah.
and they're being pushed back to Germany. And the thing that concerns, and he delivers a great line in this film, and the guy says, "I don't want to do that." He says, "Do you want to go to Germany?" And the guy goes, "Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't want to go to Germany because we'll never get out."
Actually,
Right.
the Allies were told to hold back because de Gaulle wanted the French army to reach Paris first to look better.
Yeah,
Yeah, they bring that up later on, don't they?
One
They-
of
they
the
said
many things that he did that weren't too clever.
it's later on in the movie they actually speak to that, and it pisses Burt Lancaster off bad, boy, because he's running out of people. He started with I
Yeah.
think they state in the movie he started out with 18 people in the resistance, and they're down to 3 at the beginning of this movie. Yeah, it's making him madder every time he loses a person. He just gets madder and madder. He's like the Incredible Hulk in this movie.
Well,
He
he
just
doesn't want
keeps
to
getting
do
madder
this
and
to
madder and
begin
doing
with.
more vicious things. It's pretty
He gets
tripping.
drawn into this, and he knows it's the last job, but he doesn't
Mhm.
plan on ending it being like only survivor.
Yeah,
The whole
and
thing
I
is
do want to
about-
point out that at the beginning of the film, there's a great thank you to all the men of the French Railway and
Yeah.
the courage that they showed.
Mhm.
So I thought that was wonderful that they did that. And again, Burt Lancaster's character is French in this, though he lacks any.
This is
But,
like Costner's Robin Hood, right? He's not working on the
Yeah.
accent.
He tried
Doesn't matter.
in some of the early scenes that were shot early. He tried to kind of, but it just doesn't work. It just didn't
Yeah.
work. He couldn't be consistent with it. He's terrible at accents. And what's really funny is his real accent sounds like he's from Oklahoma,
Yeah.
but he's from California.
Mhm.
And I don't know where he got that drawl from.
Well,
anyway.
if this was a realistic movie, we'd have been reading subtitles the whole time because it all been in French and German.
It was
Well,
in
the
German. It was
The
in
French
Ethel
actors,
Merman.
the French actor spoke French and got dubbed. So
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there is a guy that is dubbed in this.
not
Because
just
I
one.
was looking for that because there were a lot of foreign actors used in this.
Mhm.
And there is one French actor who had to be redubbed. His accent was too thick when he spoke English. And they were afraid that American audiences wouldn't understand it.
Yeah.
And that is the guy who ends up getting captured.
Papa Bull.
The guy that tampered with the
Yeah,
coin.
Yeah,
Papa
He doesn't
Bull.
get captured.
I didn't.
he gets shot.
That's
I
not
did
his
notice
voice.
something a little off in between the movement of his lips and the audio.
His lips and the dialogue, yeah. And I think they finally gave up on him speaking English, and they just let him speak French. And then you just redubbed him completely. Yeah, I wanted to do a parody when I was a kid called Robin Hood, and it was called The Sheriff of Fartingham.
Why am I not surprised?
When I was a kid, I just loved fucking jokes like that. Like when I did my Star Wars parody that got me in trouble in school, I got suspension for it. It was called Star Wars: The Amplifier Strikes Again. I had Dark Bladder, Princess Reatard, Puke Streetwalker, Hands Only, Chewy Tobacco, yogurt was obviously, I mean, they'd use it later. I was in high school before, but yogurt was the obvious joke to Yoda.
These are
And,
all trademarked names, by the way. Don't use them.
I did junk troopers instead of stormtroopers who wore buckets on their heads. And let's see. There's one I got that really upset. Because I didn't realize, because I called him originally, I hate saying this, I just called him Lando Cotton. And I didn't realize how racist that was when I was a kid. It was just like, I was just trying to be clever.
Yeah.
And they didn't have lightsabers, they had vibrators. And there he is. That's the guy right there. He's the one that's speaking French in the film.
The engineer?
And they dubbed him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They do put him on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't add the sound effect when they walked away of just shooting him. Because that's probably what they did, is they just shot him.
Oh yeah, they did shoot him. The sound
Yep.
effect was there.
I didn't hear the gunshot.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, shit's
Oh.
loud as hell. Yeah.
Yeah, I hated the fact that, you know, he wouldn't allow Burt Lancaster's character to defend him. He says, "You're just as bad as them."
Right. Yeah, he did. He was a stubborn dude, no doubt.
It's really a fantastic film. And by the way, you brought up the original director for this was a gentleman by the name of Arthur Penn, and I use the word gentleman very loosely. That is Sean and Chris Penn's father, and he was a communist. And Burt Lancaster wasn't overly conservative, and I don't think that played into it. I just don't think he liked Arthur Penn and his ideas on this film.
He hated
But
that.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was politics also that pissed him off, because Arthur Penn was a notorious communist. So that's why it's no big surprise about like Sean, right? Does everybody remember Sean Penn and all the shit he did during the Gulf War and all that stuff? Nobody remember that?
Some of it. Yeah.
You know, I didn't pay attention to that guy's politics because he was a
Oh, he was such a diva too. He was such an arrogant little prick when he was young. Always
Anybody that gets
punching out
married to
paparazzi.
Madonna is just he's a
Yeah, but it led to one of my favorite jokes. I liked Sean Penn when he was prima donna.
prima donna.
I made that in high school.
The guy and the sad part about it is he's like De Niro, man. He's a very talented actor, but mentally just a pygmy. It's just,
yeah.
I mean, God, it's horrible.
Well, that's the problem when you smell your own farts and begin to like them. That
God.
Goes to your brain. And but Arthur Penn was the first director on this, and he got fired, and then they brought in John Frankenheimer, who I think is a fantastic director.
Lancaster did that, and then the studio.
Well, he's a
doubled
producer
budget
on the
for
film,
him.
so he has that right to do that. Now, agreed, he still has to make an argument because a studio that's involved with distribution will have a say in it for their involvement at all. But the fact is, he could make managerial decisions like that on the film.
I have a question.
But for those of you that don't know who Frankenheimer is, Birdman of Alcatraz, another Oscar-winning Lancaster film, The Manchurian Candidate with Frank Sinatra.
Good stuff.
Yeah. 7 Days in May is a great Lancaster Kirk Douglas film. And this is a film where I tell you right now, they were very competitive with each other making that film. This is where tension was in their friendship, making 7 Days in May. Then he directed this one. He directed Seconds with Rock Hudson, which is a great sci-fi psychological horror film about surgery where you get to be, your brain gets put into the body of a younger person. And then he did the great film Grand Prix with Rockford Files, James Garner.
Mm-hmm.
Now he a lot of people think that the same director from French Connection directed the second film. No, that was Frankenheimer. It's a
Okay.
good film, but it is not a very good sequel
No,
to
it's
the
not.
first film.
Mhm.
But another film we're going to be doing very soon, Black Sunday. He directed that film. Very good film with Robert Shaw.
Hell yeah.
1977.
Hell yeah.
It
Good
was
movie.
just within a year and a half of Shaw's death. And he also directed the 1996 film Dr. Moreau. He was the director brought in after they fired the first one. But he did do another great film that I love, despite hating Robert De Niro, Ronin.
Oh,
Yeah. Ronan's a good movie.
It's a film we haven't done yet that we're going to have to do at some point because I am a fan of that. Jean Reno
The
is so
chase scene
fucking good in
alone
it.
is worth
Yes.
watching it. Yeah.
and
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
and it's one of the few films in which Sean Bean is, but he doesn't die.
Yep.
He didn't die.
Didn't die.
He's just an
Yep.
asshole that gets kicked out the team.
I got a question for you, Gary. Is this film about an actual incident that happened near the end of the war?
No, but this stuff did happen.
I'm
it's
sure it did. I just
fictional,
didn't know if it was
But it's
nonfiction,
based
but
on the real stuff that because the Germans were doing this.
we
Stealing
know
gold,
that they scooped up all
stealing precious
the-
metals,
yeah
and
Can
they
I
were
say
stealing
something?
antiquities,
artwork.
anything that the places they had occupied. They took all of their
Yeah, they would rob them.
artwork and antiquities. Yeah, for sure.
And a
Yeah.
lot of
So there's
things.
these songs.
Oh my gosh.
I just want to say something to
Go
answer
ahead.
Joe's question, because there's a dance did stop a train from going very far from Paris, but not by bombs or shit like that, by sheer bureaucracy. They had them do a shitload of
Well, and they
paperwork,
kind of
so-
show the bureaucracy, and this is slowing them down.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
but there are the other things to action it up.
Yeah.
But the fact is as the war ended, the United States Army had the Antiquities Department, and they made a movie about it with John
Matt
from
Damon.
Roseanne. Yeah, that movie.
There's a bunch of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Matt
it's a
Damon.
comedy. It's a comedy drama,
Right.
and I don't know. I like the film. George Clooney's in it too.
Yeah.
I like the film, but I thought it did a fairly decent job of talking about what these guys did because they risked their lives to recover these antiquities,
Mhm.
the artwork and
Trying to remember the
Big-
name of it. I'm looking it up now.
Monument
it's
Men.
something. That's it.
Was
Something
it
men.
Monument Men?
Men. Yeah,
Yep.
the Monument Men.
Okay.
And but this film, it shows. I think it heroically shows how courageous these guys were that went up against the Germans. And of course they had the first early version of plastique in it, which was made from what is that stuff called? RX, I think it is. It's high explosive, and it was called something putty, and it was like silly putty, really.
Right.
The way it stretched and pulled,
Mhm.
and it was the early version of plastique.
Mhm.
And later on, we got C4, but that was later.
C4. Yeah. Mhm.
And all the shit you see in this movie is real. If you see trains collide, those are real trains, no miniature.
Norman
Yeah. It's
King. That is so cool, Glenn. I didn't know that. That's awesome. Norman King was his name because the last name was King. Fuck yeah, it's cool. Our family's name on the Germanic side means wand bearer.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, the crest, the family crest, it freaked my dad out because I kept telling him I was part wolf, part werewolf, and I'd howl and all sorts of weird shit as a kid. And then he found out our family crest had the rampant wolf on it. Yeah, I love these train scenes. I was an avid train collector as a kid. I still love HO scale trains. I don't like the N scale, and I don't like the big one. I forget what scale that's called, because Scott has a lot of those. They're just too big for me. I like the thing that was like you could build the little villages and shit and train stations and the little people. I love that.
One of my childhood neighbors had his whole attic transformed into a world of miniature trains. We loved going there. He would show us his new projects and shit. It was awesome.
By the way, one of my favorite moments in the film is when they actually trick the Germans into thinking they've left France and are in Germany.
Yeah, when they mask up the train stations, that's great.
Everything. They mask the train station. The guy standing there that's moving the rail has his coat over the sign, so you can't see the sign, what it says. This is such a clever little film. It's sort of the heist on a heist.
Yeah.
Hat on a hat. The guys pulling the heist are having a heist pulled on them by these guys.
them. Yeah.
These Frenchmen.
It's pretty cool. I had no idea what this was about. It being a train, I figured they were carrying something important, but wow, that opening scene where they set it up, that it's the artwork, the actual culture of the French that's being struggled over. Very cool, man. Very cool shit. And what's funny is Burt Lancaster's character could give a shit about the paintings. He could.
Well, Lancaster did, yeah.
Arts. He's just worried about stopping them from doing anything. And what he really wants is the Allies to get there so his people stop dropping like flies.
Yeah, his
That's what he's worried
frustration
about.
throughout the
Yep.
film. Like,
Mhm.
when are they going to get here?
Yeah.
But Lancaster was a collector. He loved art.
Really?
Yeah,
That
Glenn,
guy?
just to
Yeah.
point this
Mhm.
out, my grandfather, when he fought in the First World War, was fully aware that he may be killing family.
Mm.
And he didn't care. He hated the Huns, as they called them back then,
Mhm.
the Germans. Germans.
I thought they called them
Ethelmermans.
krauts.
No, that was World War II. World War One, primarily they were referred to as the Hun or the Huns. And I've always been thrown off by that a bit. Like Attila the Hun?
Yeah, to me
That
it's
doesn't make
confusing
sense.
because it makes me think of Hungarians when I hear Huns.
And that's the other thing. It's like, but it was the Austro-Hungarian War.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is that where that came from? I've never fully understood why we call them the Huns.
It's not like they were one people, though.
Well, that's
There were
what we do
Hungarians
with
and there were Austrians.
every single war, Alpha. You know that as a soldier. I mean, that's why even as grunts, we don't even call them enemy. We refer to them as tangos, targets. Then there's all the other nicknames we've given them. God, I don't want to go into because some are fucking racist.
Mm.
That we've called the enemy. Zipperhead, zips,
Oh, yeah.
zips in the line. You know,
Dude, there's all kinds of terms.
I'll just
like
go ahead and
that.
say it. You know, gook was a very popular one during
I'm sure you've heard
Vietnam
the term.
War, but it
We're
came
gonna
from
get
Korea.
japped.
Japs, yeah.
We're gonna
Nips.
get japped, right? That's a direct reference to Pearl Harbor.
Absolutely.
That's a sneak attack, right? That's what being japped is. I mean, yeah, there's all kinds of shit like that. It's just dumb.
Yeah, it's been really weird why they were called Huns. But Alpha's right. You know, it's like it's this whole thing that we do about dehumanizing the enemy. It's part of the propaganda effort to support the war. And one thing you won't see also, and you won't see it in this film either, is the Vichy French. They tend to like to tap that down a little bit. You know, we don't want to show the French in a bad light. It's like,
Well,
you should show them in the bad light because some of them were fucking scumbags.
well, these guys, they were part of the resistance, but they are passing by as Vichy because they are
They pretend
supposed
to be Vichy. Yep.
they are
And that's what
supposed
you had
to
to
work
do.
with them.
Well, that's part of the cover. Whenever
Mhm.
you're in the underground, you've got to pretend to be somebody that you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be mad, Paul. I like that line there. Don't be mad, Paul. Froschenfresser.
Froschfresser. Yeah, that means they eat frogs.
Frogs.
Oh,
And by the way, I ate frogs as a kid too because we grew up gigging frogs, and I love fried frog legs.
Mhm.
And Luann, my sister, worked at a French restaurant, and they had a French chef there, and he sent in home with her just for me an entire styrofoam container of frog's legs, and I was just like, I'm like, mine. I just went off and ate them by myself. Mine. Frogs are good. I got to tell you, if you've never had frogs,
Just make
I
sure
only
never
to
thing
had
you
eat
eat on them is the
humanely.
legs. It's the only thing
Yeah, and
edible on them.
in some places they just take scissors and cut off the legs while the animal is still alive.
the fuck?
Yes.
Yeah, that's just fucked up.
Yeah.
At least I would stab them to death before I cooked them. I'm sorry. Because when you gig them, you pretty much kill them. If you get, it's the 3-pronged spear. Little.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out how to get them to hit the train because they keep missing the train. This is I think, and I'm pretty sure because it sounds like a P-51.
It's a Spitfire according to IMDb.
Yeah, don't they separate the cars and then try and get this thing to shoot it? Yeah, it's pretty wild.
They're trying all sorts of things. And finally, the clever thing at the end, they paint the tops of the train cars white. And
And then they have to scrub it off again.
yeah, they're made to scrub it off, and those that aren't shot. And but ironically, they find the German figures out, oh my God, it's not to target it, it's a message.
It's to tell them not
to
to
not
shoot it.
shoot. Yeah.
Stop
Not to
scrubbing
shoot
it
it.
off, right? Yeah.
Fun
it's
fact:
crazy.
these wagons are actually were used to transport their equipment between the places where they were shooting.
And that's clever to use them for
Yeah,
that.
it is. I mean, you have a train already, use it.
And he did. He learned how to operate a train for this. God damn, this guy did all of his own stunts in this film. Not one stunt in this is a stunt man. It's crazy.
And he didn't
That
get hurt doing the
hillside-
stunts.
The hillside is the one even I wouldn't do.
Oh Jesus, no!
Roll,
That was
falling and
steep.
then rolling down that damn steep ass hill. Fuck that. I wouldn't do that.
But can you believe none of his stunts hurt him? He got hurt on a day off playing golf. That's when he started to limp. So they created the scene where he gets shot in the leg to give him a reason to limp for the rest of the movie.
And this film has a whole different feel to it because it's in black and white.
Last big Hollywood movie shot in black and
Yeah,
white.
I think
as
it's a
I know.
good choice. I really do. Well, the thing people remember that lived during that era, I mean, there's not many of them left, but they had the newsreels before movies, and it's all in black and white. So,
Yep.
I think that's why when Spielberg made Schindler's List, he wanted to make that in black and white too. Just
No, he did that
First
one in
of-
black and white so he could add the red accents. Like
I
the
want to
girls
say something
spoke
about
and stuff like that.
lobsters. I'm
Uh-oh.
glad 11 Alpha just brought this up because lobsters in our culture were treated like cockroaches because they're the cockroaches of the sea. That was one of their nicknames. And they were so abundant, you could buy them like a dime for like pounds of fucking lobster. They were cheap. They were abundant. Why they've gone up in price? Because they're still abundant. Why they've gone up in price is just ridiculous. I don't like lobster. I don't like it. I don't like eating it. I think it just doesn't taste right.
I love it.
Crab. I'm a crab guy. I love eating crab, Alaskan crab, king crab.
You're like my wife. She loves crab. She can't stand lobster. Yeah.
Can't stand it. Can't stand
Well,
it.
Alpha is
She doesn't
addressing-
like shrimp either. She says it squeaks on her teeth, is what she tells me. I'm like, really?
I like shrimp. I
Mhm.
do like shrimp. But
Alpha's
shrimp is a
talking
relative.
about
Of course.
chucking live lobsters in boiling water, and any decent human being these days should stab them in the neck before doing that.
Well, I guess I'm in trouble then because I steamed 30 of them 2 years ago. Sorry.
Yeah, and a lot of people say that, like, when you cook crabs, that sound you hear is them screaming. I'm like, no, it's not. That's
No.
steam. They
Just
die
kill it
instantly.
before you
They
put
do
it
it.
in
They
water.
die instantly when you throw the crab in. There's really, it's kind of next to impossible to kill a crab.
Yeah.
The way they're designed, they're like just
They're
throw 'em in.
armored. Yeah.
You knew I had crabs. If only you knew the story, my friend. Only if you knew the story.
Man, no. No.
Now,
Where is the
chicken,
joke
I don't
going?
like the smell of chicken cooking because it smells gross to me, but I love chicken. But crab, I love the smell of, well, when we cook them, we season them in the water. And so all I smell is the seasoning. And I'm a big Old Bay.
Old Bay
Yeah,
seasoning.
Old Bay.
Mhm.
As Bill Cosby had a great joke about Old Bay. Back before he
Old
got in
Bay,
trouble for all
Old
that
Bay,
nasty
Old
shit he
Bay.
did. Sounds like you're talking pig Latin. Old Bay.
Right? Old Bay.
Lieber Rat als Tat sagt der Humor den Topf kam.
Do you want
Bro.
me to do that, Gary?
Please,
Cold War era
I do.
anti-communist poster I had. Oh, that's interesting.
What are you doing, bro? What you going around my feet for?
Oh,
This is a-
kitty!
This is about a lobster saying it's better to be red than dead. Before
I walked into the
and this is
bathroom
about-
of the weekend, and all the black cats in the house were in the bathroom, and I opened it. I walked in and went, "What is this? The NAACP meeting? What's going on in here?"
Right? What are you doing, Homer? He likes the bill of my hat for some reason.
Okay, what's the name of the kitty?
His name is Midnight Shadow, buddy. We call
Oh.
him Midnight.
Yeah, people who've ever had to deal with large amounts of dead bodies, certain smells will trigger that. And I've had to deal with a lot of dead bodies.
For some
It's a
reason,
hobby.
He was.
It's a
like
hobby
one of
I
the-
was in.
Mm.
Collecting dead bodies. Whatever.
No, thank you. No,
I
thank you.
thought it was Shanatsky's job.
I love this scene. This is great. Now, and it's really interesting because they use a lot of German actors in this for the Germans, but they got Paul Scofield, an Englishman, to play a German officer.
He nails
So
it.
he had
though.
to
He's so good.
compete with all those Germans. And I felt like he had an Austrian accent because it's soft. He doesn't have a hard accent. Like the one German that yells out, get to the vehicles. The vehicles. When he yells out, and I'm like going, and even Anima made fun of him when he said that.
Yeah. I mean,
He's German.
it wasn't a thing back then to learn German at school, so
Oh,
Like I
this is the
said,
part where they
Scofield
almost
just-
bust him. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Scofield
her
just
life
seems
is
like an arty with exceptionally good English.
Mademoiselle.
He'd been sitting there the whole time.
Yeah, he got in there just in time.
Right.
How long has he been eating? Since I made him the soup.
Well, he enters
Hello?
his room and immediately fucks off through the window to sabotage the truck and then sneaks back in.
Mhm.
Yeah, because that's what he is. He is absolutely part of the underground.
He's the leader of the,
The
The
resistance.
French resistance.
La resistance.
Yeah.
And the funny
Anyway.
thing is, you got all these French from that period that like, oh, we were all part of. No, some of you were not. Some of you
Some of
were
you
not.
were complicit.
There were
No.
Frenchmen
These two.
that killed Americans on D-Day.
Yeah. So these two did not have chemistry. She hated Lancaster. She found him a pretentious dick.
Really?
Hey, look, it's
Yeah.
John Ratzenberger from Cheers.
Right.
He looks so much like Ratzenberger. And Ratzenberger's been in so many movies that we do. It's like, oh, there's Ratzenberger.
That German officer with the Buddy Holly glasses on I thought he looked like somebody that's a current
He's
actor,
creepy
too.
as shit in
Yeah,
this.
he is.
Just his look is creepy.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like every Kraut villain in modern movies. They always have the little round glasses like Tote from Raiders of the Lost Ark. And his are shaded too, because clearly he's got an eye condition.
Dude, 11 Alpha, I'm just happy they have people who actually speak German. I give a shit if they're German or Austrian, and who they play, as long as they speak German.
Yeah, that's all I care about too. It's like, because I like it actually when Austrian actors are in films. But, you know, Germans like Wolfgar, who was in Raiders and so many other films, Forced in from Navarone. He's got your typical Germanic accent, German accent. He's good. Sergeant Schultz was born in Austro-Hungary, what would later become Austria. He was born in Vienna, in fact. There's John Ratzenberger again. And the German with the glasses.
I don't know why Hollywood switched to not using people who actually speak German to portray German characters, especially World
Well,
War
there's
II
a habit
movies.
also in, you know, especially when you got into the 70s of having British actors play Germans. And your entire German cast would be like Englishmen. And it's like, that's fucking weird.
You can just tell as a native speaker that they learned the words, they have no idea what they're actually saying. And it's so off-putting for me. It
And just
completely
as an
takes me out of the
example,
movie.
the Spielberg film, because you have a classically trained English actor playing the main Yahtzee in that. Ralph Fiennes.
Schindler's
Yeah,
List.
British actors playing Romans and ancient Greeks. It's not enough they're the villain in Robin Hood. And you'll find a lot of times in films, all the posh English accents are the bad guys, and the ones that are like East End, all the way up to I forgot the name of it, Northern England, right before you get to Scotland. You'll find accents like that as usually the good guys.
We just
And the
watched a
posh
movie
English.
with a villain who did the posh English accent, Gary.
Yeah.
The one for
Well, that's a
Wednesday.
common thing. It was a common theme. Star Wars, Grand Moff Tarkin, man, posh English. Hey, Gambit, how you doing, man? God, he looks like John Ratzenberger. That's Cliff Clavin on Cheers.
That's a tough dude, man. He took a beating in this movie. The character, I mean. I thought he was going to get shot by him.
He got shot.
Did he get shot?
Oh yeah.
I know he got beat. I don't remember.
Oh
him getting
no.
shot.
And when the trains collide, he got executed.
Okay.
That scene was so dangerous because the stuntman driving the train going into the derailed one, he was going too fast, and all the cameras got destroyed except the one that they put in the ground.
Wow.
That shit almost went out of hand. That must have been a nightmare, safety-wise. They all had to run for cover because the train came in so fast. Hi, Gambit. And they knew that they would only have one shot. So imagine if the last camera got destroyed too. No footage.
And that was a scary stunt because the guys were there. I mean, it's a freaking train crash.
Yeah.
What does it say on the funny things? Yeah, you know, 11. Carrie Fisher addressed that, and she explained that when whenever she acts or she acted angry, automatically she went to to an English accent. Oh, we have Bush in our midst.
Boosh.
Bush.
Feeling, bro.
Hi, Bush.
Okay. Here's a like. I don't recognize this film, but I accidentally rented a movie called The Train at a cheap hotel. Oh my god.
Oh no! Yeah, that's a different kind of train, bro.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of train.
Where
For
is this
sure.
stream going?
Back
Um,
where it started, obviously.
Fassbender has German roots. As far as I know, he's half German. So he probably really speaks it.
Oh man.
Ooh. That was a yes, accidentally 6 times.
Yeah. Total accident.
Oh, I missed the joke. What happened?
Oh,
Just
still
Bush.
Bush is- Yeah, there you
Here.
Bush
Read that.
being Bush.
Yeah, wrong kind of train.
Yeah, and Martin said, "Where is this show going?" And I said, "It obviously back to where it started."
Born.
Pow, chicky, pow, pow.
Bow, chicka, bow, wow.
Actually, I said that, but
I have drugs.
Yay!
You go.
good.
The good kind.
Also, that's why
Not
he
the
disappeared.
bad
You
kind.
got a delivery.
Wasn't-
Yes. Alex
It was
It
art.
was art, damn it! It was art. Right?
And here I am thinking we're going to talk about this movie. My bad.
Yeah, I unfriended somebody over Bush this weekend.
Really?
I won't say who it is, but the guy was being a fucking cunt to him. And, you know, Bush stood his ground with the guy, but I thought he was being condescending to him. And I looked at it, saw I'm fucking friends with this guy, and we follow each other. I'm like, fuck you. And I unfriended him and unfollowed him and then blocked him. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna block him. I don't want his fucking shit in my fucking news feed. I cannot stand people that are that disrespectful. And Bush knows I really care about him,
Mm-hmm.
despite the fact that he's such a fucking asshole.
I hope his health's better. Is he out of the hospital?
No, he's still there.
Mm.
He just moved in. Look, man, all I got to say is like people who cry victimhood over race could go fuck themselves.
In this day and age, yeah.
Yeah. We've all got the same fucking chance.
Hello.
Is this the train station scene or is that later? No, that's later. Where they faked the train station.
Oh, not just one. You see it multiple times. The train approaches the German train station, and as the train leaves, they take down the banner, and it's a French.
Yeah, this is it. This is it. This is it. This is the big one.
Funny.
This is so fucking funny. And then the guy switching the rail puts his jacket over the sign so they can't see it. They think they're in Germany.
My favorite one is when you see the fake name on the station, and then it goes to the guy who works the station, and you see on the lantern the real name. Nobody at the train.
And the other thing they do is they also wreck that train here in this scene in order to block them from being able to go. They do so many clever things in this film.
Yeah, it's a good flick. Really.
Dude,
is.
I love all the little techniques that the French use to sabotage. Man, the
coins.
smoking pipe. The thing with the smoking pipe
Yeah,
was
that was good.
awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Not only they sabotage, they put the blame on the German.
Right? He had to explain himself when his boss called, didn't he? Yep.
The really cool thing, when Bush finally does have the sex change operation, we still get to call him Bush.
Oh my
Boosh.
god.
Emphasis on the boosh.
Somebody save me, please.
There is no saving you, Anima.
Surgeon's
I
been
know.
pushed back. They want another consult and blood work. Surgeon wants my intestines 100% before operating. So you're going to be eating a very low to no fat. They're going to try to clean your intestines up, get them healthy. You'd probably be eating the same thing that Lauren eats, which is a lot of cabbage and a lot of beans.
Isn't that hard on the
Pickles.
intestines?
Yes, it is.
He's had a couple of bowel obstructions, hasn't he? Yeah. Turning me into a gorgeous hunk of irreversible. This glorious side of beef I call my body was a success. Yes. Boosh, I love your attitude, bro.
And
Keep it
then Meth says, prune juice heaven, Boosh.
up.
No leafy green veggies and low fiber. Oh, then you're not going to be eating beans.
No.
Mm-mm.
There's a ton of fiber in beans.
Sausage and beans.
It's what makes you so fatty when you eat them. Yeah, this is where he gains the limp because he gets nailed by the German machine
Yeah.
gunner.
Yep.
And it
Hit in the knee,
wasn't
doesn't it?
originally in the script. They added that scene because he was limping in real life. I like shit like that.
Really?
Well, I like it when somebody gets injured during the making. Not, I don't like that they get injured, but when they get injured, I like that they somehow find a way to put that into the film that they're
Well, in
injured.
this case, they had to because he had an old injury in that knee, and when he stepped into that hole on the golf course, it kind of made the issue come back up again, and he could not walk without a limp. So they had to do something. And I mean, it's easy in a war movie to just have him being shot in the leg.
There we go. This is where they derail that train, and then they have the other train run into it. It's a fucking great scene.
We admire when they use miniatures to do that, but they did the real thing.
These are all
He damaged
full-scale
trains,
real
yeah.
trains that they did this with. It's great.
And the other scene where the Spitfire is firing at them and they drive into the tunnel at full speed. This is based on a real incident on the border of Wales, where it was a train for people, not a freight train. But they had to reach the tunnel and went way over speed, like almost 90 miles per hour. That was like twice the recommended speed for trains like that.
Anna, where do
That's
you
where they got
find
the
this stuff?
inspiration for that. Ah,
Where do you
I do my
find this stuff?
research. I do my
Man.
research.
Go, man. That's pretty cool
I had
shit.
all day today because it was so cold outside that I decided I can do shopping tomorrow after work. Not going
Gotcha.
out today. So yeah. Also, the train went too far. They weren't able to brake in time, so they almost got injured filming that.
Leonardo
Again,
DiCaprio
the-
actually got injured making the film, and it's caught on camera where he cut his hand up, and so he has a bandage on his hand through the rest of the film.
What film are you talking about?
Django Unchained. You haven't seen it, but everybody else knows.
Oh,
what I'm
yes.
talking
Yeah.
Yes, when he smashes a glass with his hand.
He plays a totally evil plantation owner that loves to entertain himself by watching slaves fight each other to the death. It's ridiculous.
What the fuck?
He's an over-the-top bad guy in it. Yeah. And he
I
cuts his
bet
hand
so-
in the film. Yeah.
One of the biggest ones was Citizen Kane, like with Orson Welles. And I
Mhm.
remember, like, he was chasing, I forget the character's name, down the stairs, and he stumbled and broke his ankle.
Tom Cruise
And
did that
because-
too when he jumped.
And he
from
was in
one
a
building to
wheelchair for the
another.
rest of the film because of it. And it works because of the character. Yeah, and by the way, this is back before they started using fuel for explosions, so you have the big fiery explosions. They were showing more realistic explosions in this film because you rarely saw the blast itself. You usually just saw the damage done and the dirt and smoke thrown out. And so the explosions in this are far more realistic.
But they really blew up that train station. And it took
Mhm.
months to set up that shot. Months.
Wow.
To get all that shit in the ground and wires and
Yeah, Tim Meadows broke his arm while making Mean Girls. That's right.
somebody
no
is
shit.
copy,
I knew he was
somebody's copy pasting IMDb here.
yeah, I knew he served in the war. I didn't know he was on the Eastern Front. That is so cool.
We should rename Gambit. We should call him IMDb now.
IMDb.
Right?
Yeah. He's bringing us the whole trivia section here, I think.
That's cool, man.
My God, Bush is in a mood today.
Now, funny thing about like Sean Penn's dad, that director that was fired from this film, he actually served in the actual real Battle of the Bulge. He was a grunt, but he was a big communist supporter.
Is this a scene I'm thinking of where he just gets fed up and starts bitching? No. That's when the guy that gives him the instructions about painting the cars comes in.
Now, by the way, if you actually go to look up Arthur Penn, like on Wikipedia or IMDb or any other website, good luck finding information about him being a socialist or a communist. They Hollywood tends to try to scrub that from history, but he
course.
was a huge fucking communist and got busted for it. He was part of the Hollywood 10. And if you
What, the
look up
McCarthy years there? Is that what you're
yeah,
talking
if you look up the book, World Socialist website, or the website, World Socialist website, Arthur Penn is listed there
about?
because he absolutely was a card-carrying communist. Oh, dude, look, they like to refer to them as leftists. It's the polite way of doing it. I do it too. But the fact is, when you hear me say leftist, I mean socialist. And when I say socialist, I mean soft communist.
Yep.
Because the only difference between socialism and communism is one is democratically elected, and then it becomes communism. Oh, let's vote it in. Oh, it's democratic socialism. It's different. And then all of a sudden, oh no, wir anders a new
Oh
Iron
no,
Curtain.
what happened? Oh no, how terrible.
Why are
Yeah.
Americans now talking with an East German accent? Wouldn't it be funny, like you show that in American, all of a sudden, communist Americans sound like they're from East Germany.
Right.
Yeah, he was looking for that. I think he was also focusing on the relationship between Lancaster's character and the French actress. Yeah, I love that,
Yeah.
Bush.
Yeah, I've
I
seen
laughed
that this
so
morning.
hard when I saw that. You posted that. I fucking laughed out loud when I read it because I thought, oh, is it a real? Oh, this page has been unburdened by what has been. You know, and people wonder where that line came from in Disney Star Wars. You must kill the past. It comes from socialism.
Hello.
And when they said it in the film, I went, "Oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? They're not even masking what they are." Wanted more emphasis on action to ensure that the film would be a hit after the failure of his film The Leopard
Yeah, we
by
talked about that in the
Luchino
beginning.
Visconti. Yeah. Yeah, and Lancaster didn't like that idea.
He wanted a successful movie.
Yeah, I wonder why.
You know, the
Gee
original idea
whiz.
just
Capitalism much?
Yeah, you will find many socialists are capitalists. George Soros
Hello.
is a great example of that. Michael Moore. They are big capitalists, but they're doing it to fund their lifestyle, because the one thing you'll find is the people that lead communism, leaders, financially do very well. It's the people under them that suffer.
Tell me something I don't know.
yeah. Here they are bitching
Yeah, I know.
about the allies being
Martin knows
delayed.
about that firsthand with
I was
Venezuela.
fixing to say, if anybody can speak to that, that's the young man down in Mexico. I think you're in
Yeah.
Mexico because of that, right, bro?
Yep. Exactly.
And there he
because
is
of
right
that.
now, and they're trying to do that in Mexico right now.
Yep. My life is a big game of whack-a-mole.
Wow. Yikes.
Another film I would like to do sometime. I don't think it's a great film, but I do like Von Ryan's Express. It's a fun film. Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra is only in a handful of really great films, starting with From Here to Eternity. He's also in Manchurian Candidate, but directed by John Frankenheimer, same director. It's a very good film. Never should have been remade. Terrible remake. And I'm a big Denzel fan.
Which one?
What?
I'm sorry, I was busy. It's in.
Oh, the movie I was talking about? Manchurian Candidate.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
never
yeah.
seen it.
They shouldn't have. They shouldn't have. Absolutely.
Terrible movie. Terrible.
They tried
The
to
original
pull that
film-
off.
There's a creepy side to that film, because the relationship between the mother and the son, which, by
Yeah.
the way, their age difference was not very much. It's like a couple of years. She's playing the mother of this guy, and it's really very incestuous, her behavior.
Yes, it is. It
Yeah,
has this very awkward moment.
They tried to pull off a soft version of that this last election. Didn't work.
It did not work as a film. Denzel was great in it. So is Liev Schreiber. I love him as an actor. Terrible fucking movie.
Just one of the many movies who did not need it to be remade.
No.
Yes,
That's a perfect
Not
And
example.
1962 is a great film. Henry
That-
Silva got to show his skills in martial arts in that.
Mhm.
Manchurian Candidate, 1962. Frank Sinatra had learned some judo for the film.
That remake is something I like to call a waste of talent.
Absolutely agree.
That's sad.
You know, I think if I'd ever had a chance to meet him before he passed away, I think one of the things I would have complimented him in this film is, I'm talking about Paul Scofield, by the way. I would have said, loved you in The Train. You look good in a German uniform.
He's so good in this character.
Yeah, he is.
Especially the last scene where he taunts him to the point where he just nails him.
That's something, by the way, we could do with Ray Fiennes, like, yell it out to him. You look great in a Yahtzee uniform.
By the way, speaking of Ray Fiennes, Foxy and I watched The Conclave last weekend.
Terrible film.
You didn't like it?
Good. All the way to the third act, and then, this is about trans stuff.
Yeah, that was kind of weird at the end.
I'm
but
out.
I thought it was a great buildup.
Because
though.
they made it into this real fucking mystery, and you're starting to think there was a murder or something. And then they flip it on you at the end that it was all about this person who was born with both genders.
Yeah, he was a
becoming the
hermaphrodite.
next
Yeah.
pope. So
Mhm.
that's what this is about.
Yeah.
This is what I just sat through 2 hours for.
Yeah.
I got so fucking angry. I didn't even finish the movie. I just turned it off and went, "You
I finished it.
motherfuckers!"
Yeah. Didn't see the
I
end
did.
coming at all. Didn't really
No,
see
it's
it
just-
at all.
It was so pathetic what they did, and they, and they make the conservative in it look like a Yahtzee in the film. They always
Mhm.
depict, even though technically Yahtzees are socialists,
Yep.
extremely liberal. Okay, don't forget that. But right wing, no, you're fucking stop lying.
It's
was
in their name.
It was in the name.
It's in the fucking name.
Yeah, it's in their
Hello.
name. You can't say the Yahtzee word without that word in there.
Mhm.
It's an acronym, you dumb motherfuckers. Anyway,
Yeah.
I love the movie Crossfire. We are doing it. I'm going to invite my friend Katie Haber on here. She was one of the
Putting it on
line
the list.
producers for Blade Runner, and but she also worked on Cross of Iron because she worked with one of my favorite directors who made the movie Cross of Iron. And I love that movie because also there is a officer named Kissel in it.
Imagine that.
David Warner plays Colonel Kissel. I remember I would see that with my dad, and we love that movie. He says, "I really don't like the slow-mo." And back as a kid, I thought it was cool. But when I got older, I'm like, you know what? Dad was right. I hate slow-mo violent scenes. I really do. Yeah, Peckinpah was great. And Katie Haber was his right-hand woman. She helped him make every film. Oh, Sam Peckinpah was insane. But that's what made him great. Yeah, this is a scene where the one dude gets smoked on top of the train. He's like, "Get off the train. What are you doing? You're done. The entire thing is white. Why are you still up there?"
Right?
It's already fully painted. And he gets smoked by the crowds.
Knew he was going to get dusted whenever he stayed
You
up there. I
knew
was
it.
like,
When he went
dude,
back up
come
there, you're
on.
like, "Oh man, he's gonna fucking die."
Yep.
He's one of those fucking idiots. And the next day, they're scraping it off until they find out, oh my God, no, it's not a message, or it's not a for
not a target.
It's a message not to hit it.
Yep. Because they knew
They
what
are
was on it.
stupid.
Yeah, if it weren't for Katie Haber, we wouldn't have Blade Runner. I'm just going to put it down that way. I've told her that to her face. I said, if not for you, we wouldn't have the film, and I know that. She was instrumental in it getting done and released. I don't know if I've ever seen Salad Days. I don't even know what that is.
It's a weird title of a movie.
Well,
He
salad
took
days,
over-
the good times, the salad days.
He took over that film with Heston. It was Civil War Western. And Roger Corman was the original director on it and got himself fired because he kept refusing equipment from the studio. He says, "We don't need that." He thought he was doing a good job by saving them money, and it freaked them out, and they fired him and brought in Sam Peckinpah to finish the film.
That sucks. When you mean well and it backfires.
Yeah, fascism comes about when government has the control over the people. And our country isn't supposed to be that way. We are designed, this is a nation of the people. We're in charge, not the government. And the government's been trying to tell us, no, we're in charge. We give you your rights. And that's why I don't like liberals or lefties, because they like that.
Oh yeah, they're all.
And not all liberals are like that. I just know that there are liberals.
They
out
want
there
you
that
to pray
like
at the
big
altar
government.
of the U.S. government, not your deity. Yeah.
It's not, fascism isn't right wing either. It's the same thing. Absolutely. Paul Smith is here. Sam Peckinpah is simply one of the greats and has the filmography to prove it. Yes, he does. Every film that I've seen of his, and I've seen a lot of them. One of my favorites is the ninja film that he made with Robert Duvall and Sam Peckinpah. I mean, with Robert Duvall and James Caan. I can't think of the name right now. For some reason, the name escapes me. I fucking love that movie.
Oh, we lost.
Oh no,
Martin.
I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, it was done like a PBS thing. That fucking thing, Alpha, gave me nightmares as a kid.
Where did Martin go?
Venezuela.
Oh, he's back.
He's in communist Mexico right now, so he's having internet issues. So Salad Days, I absolutely remember that, Alpha. That's when the guy's playing the piano and the piano closes on his hands, cuts his hands off, and blood starts spraying out of his wrists.
Whoa!
I was 8 years old when I saw that, and it gave me fucking nightmares, but I couldn't stop watching.
Can somebody remember where we were?
No.
Oh,
About a little over an hour in, last time I checked.
okay. This is the crash.
It's past the crash.
Yeah, past this.
I think
Yeah,
Past that.
Yeah.
No, they're not yet painting.
Yeah, we got to get to the paint. There we go. There we go. Now you're caught up.
Okay.
So absolutely, Alpha. Good call out to that, because I've talked about that episode of Monty Python many a time. That thing gave me fucking Major Dundee. Originally, Roger Corman was the director of that and got himself fired for trying to save the studio money.
He was interfering with someone getting money. That's it.
I will explain one simple thing to you. You can't have socialism without capitalism, because you chew down the wheel of cheese and then the cheese is gone. Without capitalism, you can't rebuild the cheese. It's the flaw of most socialists that they don't understand that.
There is so
That's how
much
China does what it's
they
doing
don't
right now.
understand.
They figured it out.
What, the communism has never worked?
That communism doesn't work, but they found a way using capitalism to fund it. And so it's got a staying power in China.
That sucks for the Chinese.
For many, but not all. Some of the Chinese actually do fairly well over there, especially like in Hong Kong.
Well, Hong Kong is different anyway.
Yeah. Because that's where the
now-
capitalism started in China, was in Hong Kong. Oh, dude, I'm going to be checking it out later. I got to show that to Anima and explain to her why that episode of Monty Python had me become a fan, and also why it traumatized me as a kid.
I'll have to go check it out because I'm a big Monty Python fan and I don't remember anything like that. But then again, I don't know that I've seen everything they did. So, was it on the Flying Circus? Is that?
Yeah, Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Okay.
It was one of the early episodes too.
Okay. I just, the thing I remember about his movies, he used a lot of the Sergio Leone kind of bloodiness in his stuff, and
slow motion. Well, he pulled a Sam Peckinpah with that one. He did slow mo with that one.
And the one I always remember, what was the movie where the guy loaded the shotgun with like big ass coins? It was like,
well, that was in real life. That was what's his name? Billy the Kid. So I paused it here for a reason. This is the plastique moment from the film that I really liked. It shows how putty-like it is.
Yeah.
That this is really accurate.
Mm-hmm. This is near the end of the movie here. Yeah.
Hey, short span attention theater.
It almost sounds like a description of our channel.
Right?
We call it ADD theater.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, that we got Sergio Leone to team up with one of the greatest composers of all time. It's sort of like Spielberg and John Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Ennio Morricone is the John Williams of Europe. And the cool thing from this point on, it's like he's doing straight up guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, he is. He's escaping and evading all across this countryside, doing everything he can to stop this train from getting out
Yeah,
of France.
I mentioned it, Gambit. I said Ennio Morricone. Ennio Morricone is absolutely like my third favorite composer of all time. Number 1, John Williams. Number 2, John Barry. Number 3, Ennio Morricone. After that is you start going back to older composers like I just forgot his name, Pink Panther, Henry Mancini.
You know who I got reminded of watching Capricorn 1 is Jerry Goldsmith, how good he was.
Jerry Goldsmith borrows from a lot of people.
Yeah, he does.
But and he not only borrows from other composers, he borrows from himself all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I like him. Don't get me wrong. I do like him, but he steals from Wagner all the time.
Mm-hmm.
More than
Well,
any other composer I've ever heard.
If you're going to steal from the best.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
My 2 favorite soundtracks he's ever done is Capricorn 1 and Logan's Run. I love the music in Logan's Run. It was cool.
Another composer I really liked a lot. God, he's got a Greek name, but he's actually from Kansas City, Missouri. He did Conan the Barbarian. Oh my God. I
That's
just
some good
forgot his
music.
fucking name. Give me a second. I will remember.
It's a race
Keep
against
talking,
time.
guys. Yeah, keep talking, guys. Keep talking. Take
It's a
over.
race against
My-
time. I'm going to look it up right now.
I'm not looking it up. I want to remember this on my own.
I know you do.
Do not.
And I won't say it when I
Give me a
find
minute,
it.
give me a
I
minute.
want to see if I can find it before you get it.
Come on, Gary, you could do that.
Give me a
You
second.
can do it. Come on, Gary.
I've got it. Basil Pododoris.
There
Yes.
you go.
What he did with Robocop was absolutely
Oh my God, yes.
marvelous.
Also, Hunt for Red October. I love that soundtrack.
Oh, he did that music? Wow.
Vangelis
Yeah.
is another one of my favorites. He's in the top
Oh
10
yeah,
list.
mine too.
He did Chariots of Fire, sorry.
Yeah.
And proved that, because you had other people trying to do what he did. He did it better than them. And of course, Tangerine Dream is who I'm referring to. Tangerine Dream, I never got into them. They were the ones who did the first synthesized soundtrack for film, for the movie Thief by Michael Mann, starring James Caan. And it's interesting, but it's not great. I just don't agree with anybody who loves that soundtrack. Vangelis came up and said, "Hold my fucking beer."
Yeah, dude, look.
Tangerine Dream.
That music charted in the US when that movie came out. And
Yeah, it
the
did.
movie wasn't that popular. But boy, the music was.
It's popular at
Everybody's
the
seen
Oscars.
that.
It's
Everybody's
popular
seen that
at the Oscars.
iconic scene from the video where they're running on the beach, and with that.
It is their
music.
best soundtrack because my least favorite that they did was Legend, and they did another film that I thought was just we watched it, The Keep. I hated that.
Yeah.
soundtrack.
Yeah,
Didn't
that didn't work.
correct me if I'm wrong, but recently they've done one. They did Drive, didn't they? Didn't Tangerine Dream do Drive? Let me look that up.
I don't know if they did it or if they just used some of their music. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I'll check and see.
But there is that. It's very synthesized soundtrack for Drive.
Mhm.
Good film, by the way. I do like that film.
Love it. Love that movie.
Ennio Morricone is the best ever for me. He's number 2 for me. Number 1 will always be John Williams. Maurice Jarre is a great one, yes. Dmitri Tiomkin, another great one. Alex North, Jerry Goldsmith. Jerry, we just talked about him. He's derivative. That's my problem with Jerry Goldsmith. He either steals from other people or he steals from himself. But it's still solid soundtracks. John Barry is absolutely one of my favorites. Elmer Bernstein, absolutely great too. His theme to Stripes What a fucking great soundtrack.
Yeah, it must just be songs they use from Tangerine Dream because it says here that Johnny Jewel was first hired for it and Cliff Martinez ended up doing it.
I don't know who either of those names are.
I don't either. I don't.
But one of the best Jerry Goldsmith soundtracks is, and it's, I consider it probably one of the most original soundtracks he ever did, was Patton.
Yeah.
Because he did that fading trumpet thing that I just thought that.
It's iconic.
You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It just really stands out. And it's something that I brought up Elmer Bernstein. Bernstein kind of echoed Patton's theme in the Stripes theme. Because there's an Irish hint to the theme, as with Patton. There's an Irish aspect to the theme in that. And then Elmer Bernstein would utilize something similar to that with Stripes. Listen to Stripes. Go back and listen. Tell me you don't hear
I know.
a little bit of Jerry Goldsmith's Patton in
the
that.
tempo's the same in both of them.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Uh-oh, they're on to him, bro. They're on to him.
Yeah, and by the way, that's the guy he knocked the shit out of and took the Schmeiser away from.
Hey.
Yeah.
Still got the
He's got a
bandages on his
vendetta
head.
against Burt Lancaster. Another great moment in the film, by the way, that we failed to bring up is the scene at the train station where you have two Germans guarding Burt Lancaster and his assistant engineer, and they're fucking part of the French underground. And when the German walks up and speaks to them, and they're like, they don't speak, they're afraid to say anything because they'll give away that they're French. So they just go, they nod at him.
Right.
I thought that was funny.
There are a lot of funny moments in this movie. It's not your typical World War II movie because it's not centered on the war. It's about things that have been going on.
Yeah, truly. And this is one of the fucked up parts is they line up all those Frenchmen around the front of the train, causing him not to set off the explosive.
Well, he sets it
on the
off,
train.
but he sets it off early.
He sets it off early,
Yeah.
so they can stop.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't want them hurt.
And they don't even realize it at first. They still think he was going after them, and then they realize he detonated it early because he saw the hostages.
Yeah, I like Max Steiner's another great composer. I am not a fan of Hans Zimmer. I like his old stuff. But everything he started doing in the 2000s to today, I don't like.
I like Kongold.
Quincy Jones is one of the best TV composers.
Quincy Jones was good at everything he did. Yeah.
You look at so many of his theme songs that you'll hear it in a movie. Go, man, that's a great theme. I remember that because, like, what's his name? That did Pulp Fiction, loves using Quincy Jones themes in his movies. He used Ironside. God, I wish I could remember every single Quincy Jones. Like SWAT, he used SWAT theme too.
Talk about another one that charted in the U.S. when that show came out.
Oh, the SWAT theme, yeah, Quincy Jones, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's Quincy Jones, but he did Ironside. What a theme song.
Yeah.
And Quentin Tarantino used it in his film
Kill Bill, Volume 1.
Kill Bill, thank you, Volume 1. And you
This
know what?
scene
I don't
freaked
know if
me out, by the way. When you see the train slowing down and then going off the rails where they are broken and blown up, the train goes on the normal ground. I was like, holy shit, because I knew all of this was real.
And this is also where they shoot all the Frenchmen and kill them.
Yeah,
Just
they have to
machine
take the
them
crates out
down.
of the train, and as they put them on the grass on the side, they shoot all of them.
There's my man. He tells this guy to go to hell. He says, get back on them trucks. We're getting out of here.
This is where you start to understand that this isn't about Germany. This is about him.
Yeah.
His passion.
Mm-hmm.
He never intended to sell the paintings for money for the war. He
If
wants
this
to
guy
stay
hadn't
there.
stopped him, he'd have killed that officer.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the point. Well, no, it's on his final monologue that you understand that his frustration has made him crazy.
Yep.
He's a madman.
Yep.
And he ends up in his little monologue at the end with Burt Lancaster is just so. It's a good scene
Yeah.
because it's that classic. You and I are the same, we're the same. Lancaster just looks at him,
Burt just simply says, "No, we're not the same. I've got the gun."
and he doesn't say anything. He just fucking blasts.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. He just does.
I have
Actually,
tired of
nothing
your
to say to
shit.
you.
the last half hour of this movie, he has no lines anymore. It's just acting.
Yeah. He is just a force of nature
Yeah.
and will not
No
be
words
denied.
needed.
Yep.
Lalo Schifrin is one of those guys. He is like John Williams. A lot of people don't know that about John Williams. John used to be called Johnny Williams. He was a jazz pianist.
Really?
And he had actually put out an album of jazz music before he became a composer for television. It was Lost in Space and Gilligan's Island that got him his career. And that's when he was told, you need to get rid of the Johnny and just be called John.
Right.
He was told that. He was actually told that. And
Don't church it
but
up, son.
Lalo
You're
Schifrin, who writes in the time signatures that Lalo Schifrin would use? Mission Impossible theme is one of the coolest fucking time signatures I've ever seen. Yeah, Bullet soundtrack, absolutely. The Dragon, Sudden Impact. Oh, yeah. Enter the Dragon, great soundtrack. Lalo Schifrin was really good at his stuff, man.
Yep. Absolutement.
And again, an incredible jazz musician.
He knows why he's doing
Yeah, I
it.
remember
He
playing
talking down to
drums.
this guy.
I remember playing drums to when I was in marching band for a brief period of time, and we did Mission Impossible theme, the TV theme, and the time signature is 5/4. There he is, just fucking smoking.
Yeah. Don't be talking down to me, fool. You're done. See ya. Wouldn't want to be you.
Thanks for your monologue, Kraut.
That's really nice. All that shit you said. Bye. Check
It
you
is
out
so
next time.
often. That's why Battleground is such an interesting film, because they decided not to have a score. They decided to allow the sound of combat. And it's something that many veterans tell people all the time, especially combat veterans, that the best soundtrack for a war film is the sound of war.
Right?
Don't play. And John Williams, if you notice it, his musical cues in Saving Private Ryan were very specific when they would come in.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't make scores, then suddenly you don't have. They help set the mood for the film. By the way, the outro on this film, they did it as damaged film, like you're watching an old movie.
Wow.
If you
They
watch it,
really
you can
pulled
see
it
that
off.
there's
They bring
damage
you
to the
back.
film.
They bring you back in time, also by doing it black and white.
And it still pisses me off that Ted Turner fucking colorized this movie.
Nobody
And I
needed
couldn't
that.
find, I went looking for it. I couldn't find anywhere where Frankenheimer said anything about the colorization of the film.
I don't think he wanted it.
I'm assuming, that he didn't want it because he was the one pushed for it to be in black and white.
Black and
Fought
white.
the studio.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He fought the studio. And the film did turn a profit. And it was extremely popular. I think somebody mentioned that
Despite being so
over
crazy
in
expensive.
the UK. Yeah, it's a $6 million film.
Really? Wow.
As I recall,
that was
wasn't it?
expensive at that time. Wow.
Man, the shitload of explosives, the trains, that cost
Let
a
me go look.
fortune.
Yeah, it was $5.8 million, and it earned $6.8 million at the box office worldwide. Very popular in the UK. Production was 5.8, but then you got to tack on marketing. But back then, it wasn't double like it is today.
It was one of 4 movies that Lancaster was forced to do for way less than his usual paycheck would be. I forgot the reason why, but he did it for a percentage of what he would usually earn.
I'm just glad they
Absolutely.
didn't
And-
have.
And
sorry.
Paul, you're absolutely right here, because you look at films like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jaws, and Star Wars. Just those 3. They were the 2 big George Lucas Spielberg box office films right there. And those films wouldn't have worked with the wrong soundtrack.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
And again, John Williams did all 3.
Mm-hmm. He had a great horror soundtrack for Jaws, and he had a great
Oh yeah, because like
epic.
Spielberg had showed him what he wanted, and Williams like, no, you don't want that. You want the opposite of that. Like, you wanted this down dark music, you know, when they're
Mhm.
going out to sea. He goes, no, you want uplifting, jaunty, something that sounds like this is
The
going to be
Chase is
fun.
one of the greatest
Yeah.
friggin' pieces of music ever.
Yeah.
And that's the
That-
piece of music that's going on during the boat chase with the shark, where they're trying
That
to
pi-
stick in the
that
barrels.
piece-
in 'em. It's
That
great.
piece makes that scene.
Yep.
Absolutely.
does.
Well, the entire
Mhm.
soundtrack makes the movie, and John Williams played it on piano, the Jaws theme, and
Mhm.
Spielberg was like, "I'm not getting it." He's like, he thought he was insane. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Trust me, man. It's epic. Trust
There
me.
is a John Williams documentary out there right now. It came out last year. It's really good.
Cool. Let's check that out.
It's
'Cause
not
my-
like Arnold's.
How
where
much
he got
great themes is he responsible for? I mean, you just mentioned a couple of them, but Superman, he did that one too. It's an iconic theme. I mean, a lot of people. I know a buddy of mine uses it as his ringtone for when his dad calls. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's a great piece of music, man. He's responsible for so many great soundtracks.
I absolutely agree, Paul, because he is also one of my favorite directors of all time. And his last film, Ronin, Ronin changed the laws in Paris.
Really?
That was the first film in years that was allowed to use gunfire in the
Ooh.
city limits.
Wow.
And they started allowing it again. The reason why a lot of people don't understand why, it was because people were complaining when they were making films in Paris that the gunfire was keeping them awake. And so they just made a law that you couldn't fire guns inside the city limits, blank guns,
hmm
for movies. And finally they changed it because of the movie Ronin.
I don't know what the law is in the US, but in Europe, in most European countries, between 10 p.m. and 6 to 7 a.m., you're not supposed to make noise.
Yeah, well, they have laws like that here in the US too.
Europeans are very particular about being quiet at night.
Yeah, it's also here because
Yeah, it
people
is.
that live in houses and apartments want to be able to sleep through the night that work normal hours. Yeah, absolutely. You have
That's true.
what they call it. What do they call it? A noise ordinance.
Noise
noise
ordinances, yeah. Mhm.
Every
Yeah,
city has noise ordinances.
German word
I
for
laugh
noise.
because I work in a bad neighborhood in Shreveport, and yeah, you hear dogs barking and gunfire.
So it's the neighborhood, not the people, that's bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Neighborhood's like, yo, get out of here.
get the hell out of here.
Who said that? Me, the neighborhood.
Good.
But yeah, you can call the police on somebody for that. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, Maurice Jarre is another composer I really like.
He did the music for this movie.
John Williams' tunes are more recognizable than the Beatles. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd say so.
And a lot of people don't know that the music from Star Wars is based on was it called The Sound of the Planets? It was a soundtrack scored like 100 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, for each planet had its own score. And if you go in, you go, I hear Star Wars. I hear the Imperial theme. I hear, oh my God. Go listen to it. It's an amazing soundtrack.
Cool.
The Sound of the Planets. And I was shocked because I was in like fake college when I heard that the first time. One
Fake
of my
college?
buddies. Yeah, you know the story, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I do. I just think it's funny the way you call it that. That's
Yeah, it's like I have my period when I was in real college, and then my fake college years. So David Bowie, absolutely, I agree with that. Alpha, what did you say? When I worked for Georgetown University Safety Department, that's funny because I started going there in Georgetown. I went to a couple of weeks of seminary in Georgetown. Campus construction sites measure the noise made before 8 a.m. Yeah. There's so many. Oh, man, you wouldn't believe how many ordinances there are around D.C. Like, you can't even have buildings over a certain height in D.C.
good. Yeah.
I heard that fact in Rick Beato's YouTube. I love Rick Beato, man. He is just so awesome. I love when he does breakdowns of songs showing how they were done, and he'll show you on guitar, on piano. He gets his drummer friend come and show you how the drum was done. Yeah, I love that shit. Anybody who doesn't watch Rick Beato that loves music, you need to go find Rick Beato, the professor of rock.
Rick Beato. I will
It
do it.
inspired him to do synth soundtracks for Witness. Oh my God, the Witness soundtrack. I'm still planning to watch that with Anima. I don't know about Mosquito Coast. Even though I like the film, I don't think Anima will. No Way Out, she saw. She loves that
Mosquito
movie.
Coast is a good movie, but it's a little drawn out long. But
That's the
Witness-
main problem with it. It's a down story
Yeah.
because your main character dies in the end.
Well,
And they
he's one of
changed
those
the ending
borderline
from the book
crazy people. Yeah.
because Paul Theroux is he's actually a really good writer. I read the book, Mosquito Coast. It's a good book, but it's a different. The ending is slightly different. But I like the ending in the film because only dead things float downstream,
Yeah.
and they don't tell them that they're going downstream.
What are
They
you
do
guys
things-
talking about? Sorry, I had to
The
step out.
Mosquito
Mosquito
Coast.
Coast.
It's a movie called
Okay.
Mosquito Coast.
Harrison Ford, Joaquin Phoenix. It's where he and Joaquin became friendly, and why Joaquin ended up playing a young version of him because he could do a great spot-on impression of Harrison Ford,
Oh, okay.
and he does it at the beginning of Indiana
Yeah,
Jones.
he does.
Joaquin or River?
But
Wasn't it
you
Oh,
know,
River, yeah, not Joaquin.
he starts out, you know, as the genius trying to build his own world, you know, cutting it out of the wilderness like a pioneer. But he turns into Ahab before it's over with. He's
He
gonna
is.
get his
Okay.
white
It
whale.
really does become
Yeah.
Ahab.
Yeah.
You got your period in college. Hey, man, you live around that many females, it just happens.
I think you better have to check your kidneys instead.
It is, and Paul
Mhm.
Theroux liked it. He thought it was a good film,
Yeah.
a good adaptation.
It's
What
just
I
too
think was
long.
a bad adaptation was the TV series. Terrible. And
And they made a
ironically,
series out of that. Wow.
his cousin is the lead actor in it.
Hmm.
Paul Theroux's own cousin. The actor that plays it his last name is Theroux, and he is related to him directly.
Yeah.
And I think it's a terrible show. Complete misunderstanding of the book.
Didn't even know they made one. Didn't even know.
Oh, it's terrible. Go find it and watch the first episode, and you'll understand why I don't like it.
But
First
Witness,
episode.
on the other hand, Peter Weir's Witness is awesome.
Oh, Peter!
Love
I
that
love
movie.
that movie. I love the soundtrack by Gerry.
Yeah.
And he used synthesizers on that one. I love the music. It's almost got a heroic tone to it, especially at the end when he's leaving, and he drives and he stops as he passes Alexander Godunov.
Yeah.
who just ignores him, just keeps walking. He goes, "There you go, English. You're out of here. I can get my woman back."
That may be my favorite movie without Alexander Goodenough, as far as his acting and the way he was used.
Well,
I
he's
mean,
such a small
everybody
character
remembers
in
him
it.
in Die Hard and Money Pit, but a lot of people forget he's in this movie, man, playing that Amish guy. Yeah.
Yeah, there's another actor that was one of his first films, if not his first. You guys know who it is?
No.
That's why I come here to learn these things.
He would play Aragorn later.
Viggo Mortensen? Yeah, he is in that, isn't he? Wow.
Yep, Viggo plays Moses in it.
You know, his face just popped into my head. Wow. Okay. Yeah. See, this is why I like revisiting old movies just to see who's in it that we know now.
Well, it's one of the good things about hanging out with me is because, I'm a true cinephile. And I will just start talking about films. And I love
All
our
the
chat
time.
because everybody in our chat are cinephiles.
Yeah.
And they know their shit, and we love talking film. And we have a person that got a hold of me today on Instagram that asked how to leave things, and they love watching the show. And so I said, what you do is like leave a comment under the video.
Right.
And I check them all the time for
On
suggestions.
YouTube, that is.
Yeah, on YouTube. Leave a suggestion, comment there for films you want us to cover. And they brought up the thing that they really enjoy is Military Monday. And that made me happy to hear that.
What I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, man. They like this.
Yeah.
By the way, I said it the other night. I was telling people, would you hear me do a black guy voice? That's Eddie Murphy's black guy voice when he does another black guy. But also when I do like a white guy, I do the Eddie Murphy white guy. Hey there.
Right.
I like when you become Tyrone Moncrief.
I roll Moncrief.
Especially when you do it around Keith. That was
It cracks
awesome.
Keith up. Because he knows I'm doing Eddie Murphy.
Do you do his Jewish voice too?
What? You thought we'd go through this here?
There it is.
You must sugar on the fuck off.
Oh man.
You're not bringing yourself to puberty here.
Eddie before it's over with is going to go down as one of the greatest ever. I mean, if you've never seen Delirious, that first stand-up special he did, oh my God, it is so
the last
great.
thing he did that I thought was great was when he did Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
I haven't seen that. He did a Seinfeld episode with him?
It was pretty much a two episodes. It was so good.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's one
Netflix,
of my favorites.
right? I'll have to go check that out.
Yeah. My two favorites on there was that one, and I loved when he had Norm Macdonald on.
Oh, God.
Because Norm would make him laugh.
Right.
Norm's sardonic and dark sense of humor would just fucking make Gerry laugh.
Yep. All right, guys. I got to get out of here. You be good.
Yeah, go away.
It was great hanging with you for a couple of hours. Great movie.
Was
if you
it?
haven't seen
Was
The
it
Train,
great?
Go check it out. It's fantastic stuff. Burt
Yeah,
Lancaster. The tough
look
guy.
it up. Find it on Amazon. Watch this film. It's the last black and white film from that period.
And don't be turned off because it's so long, because it doesn't feel long watching it at all. And I'm the first person to complain if a movie is too long. This one is not.
Yeah, Norm Macdonald, like the last time on David Letterman, when he did that, he did a joke where he says, everybody's worried about like Iran and Iraq. He goes, you know what country you need to pay attention to? You ever heard of Germany? Germany. You know that they started 2 wars? And do you know who they fought? The world. Norm's so fucking funny.
To be honest, the first one got started when the prince got shot in Sarajevo. So
yeah,
that wasn't the Germans starting it.
Archduke Ferdinand and his wife.
Yeah.
And the irony of that story is that he fucked up and missed him and fled and ran to a cafe, and then the car came around right in front of the cafe and stopped and gave him a second chance. If you've never read what happened that day, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. It's like you would pull right up in front of the would-be assassin again and stop the car. It's like they were asking for that war to start. So, but I'm glad you got here, Helen Place. You can go back and watch the rest of the show. We do talk about the film, but we also talk about other stuff like soundtracks, directors, and I talk about Arthur Penn being fired from the film. Anima brought it up first.
I thought it was important.
Yeah,
to
the
mention
station signs was hilarious. I thought that was great. I mean, I laughed out loud. Animal will tell you, I actually laughed when that
we
happened. I'm like,
both
oh my
laughed
God.
our This was just so great. So many
And I
fun
told
moments
Anima,
in
I
this.
hadn't seen this film since I was a little kid. And I just remember loving it when I was a kid.
So it was almost like a first watch for you.
Yeah, by Rose Valland. It is loosely based on that, but it is a nonfiction because it tells what actually happened. There is no major action scenes in that story. It's just a heist on a heist story that the French weren't going to let them get away with this, and they did everything to stop them. But they didn't do any of the stuff they do in the film. Well, they did a couple of things, but they didn't do any of the bombing and all the action scenes. None of that happened in the book. So they made those alterations. That's why they say, you know, it's loosely based, is because the film does have a few action scenes in it. Yeah, I love Burt Lancaster because he had already gotten the win for Birdman of Alcatraz. And the next film that he did together with the same director, Frankenheimer, was 7 Days in May, which is a great film about fucking Cold War, man. On a tangent, have you all done 50? No, I haven't, because I'm saving that for. I'm thinking about doing it for either Dan Daly's birthday or something like that, because even though he's not featured in the film, that is where he got his first major decoration, because he stood on that wall with a regular rifle and used it like a sniper and shot a couple hundred people, possibly even more. And that's where Dan Daly got his start, was on that fucking wall. And Dan Daly, if you guys don't know who that is, he's the guy who originally said the line, and he said it in combat, "Do you want to live forever?" That's Dan Daly. And I've always said, and by the way, Dale Dye agreed with me. I said, I don't think he said it the way they say it in the movies. I think he meant it as, you know, do you want to go down in history?
Yep.
Be remembered. I think that's what he meant, because that's the kind of person he was. And that's the way Marines are. And he turned to those Marines, you know, fixed bayonets, let's go, guys. And they're like, what are we doing? And he turned to him, he says, you want to live forever? Let's go. Crisscross. Yeah. Yeah, 7 Days in May. Great fucking movie. Kirk Douglas, Ava Gardner, Burt Lancaster. And this is a film where, you know, I brought it up earlier that there was no animosity, but there was a lot of conflict between Lancaster and Douglas in their scenes. And it was because of the one-upsmanship relationship they had. Because they were friends, but they were competitive friends. And Lancaster years later not Lancaster, I'm sorry, Douglas would say years later he hated the guy. It's not true. He was being a comedic, I think, when he said that. You know, John Larkin, great Irish name. I know a lot of the Larkins over in Ireland. Smedley Butler, another Marine Corps legend. Chesty Puller, too. Don't forget that motherfucker. Those are two names you better know everything about when you're a Marine. I shit you not. Because if you get it quizzed on those two names, Chesney Fuller and Dan Daly, they'll drop you. They'll smoke you right there. That's what he's talking about, Smedley. So, but that's it, guys. I guess we're done here.
I said all I had to say.
And apparently, so has Amelia.
Yeah.
Anything else to add to that, Amelia? Just curious. Everybody wants to know. Yeah, there we go. Everybody wants to know the opinions of the cat.
I've headphones on, but
so Penny.
sorry, she's right next to the mic too.
Yeah, I want to thank Penny for being here. Meth, FK, 2005. Tim, Charles Vanacore, Glenn Fleming, Gambit, 1987. Fred Hafferkamp, Paul Smith, Bush McFadden, Short Attention Span Theater, and Hail in Place. 11 Alpha, I'm always glad you're here when you show up. I don't see your name mentioned anywhere in here, Martin. His name's not mentioned. So,
ooh,
I'm sorry.
Bad Martin.
So 11 Alpha, I won't forget you because I always remember you're here. Always coming down with the knowledge. I love that about 11 Alpha. Guys, thanks a lot. Look forward to next week. I'm not sure what we're doing next week. Did I set that up yet?
No, not yet.
No,
We
we
just
should.
had these
We
two last
could
week.
do
I'm considering. I know I made the thumbnail for Go Ask the Spartans, which is another Lancaster film. So might be doing that one. I'll make my mind up this week.
Well, they're still conflicty.
Oh yeah. Have you watched it by now?
Yeah.
Oh, conflicting.
Because
I thought you just didn't know how to say conflict. Conflicted.
No, that's the original title, you jerk.
No, I prefer sugar pops than corn pop than.
And we were waiting for you, Martin, to finish it.
Oh, I did it the week that you proposed it. I binged the whole thing, made
What'd
a
you think?
slideshow. I didn't like the first two episodes, mainly because of the characters. In fact, the characters made me harder for me to like the show. The events of the show, that's another thing.
Well, I love the when you get the real combat guys in there, not your, National Guard guys. When you get the real combat guys in there, I love the CQB they use and their skill levels. They did something that I pointed out in it that bugged me. That when they turn corners, instead of the way we're trained to do it here in the U.S., they put the butt of the weapon over the shoulder, which I don't think is smart because you don't have as good a control over the weapon. When they go up to a corner, you'll see them pull the weapon in and they'll put the butt over the shoulder and turn the corner. The reason why is because what one of the characters does that turns a corner in the film that is not one of these trained guys, he turns the corner with the weapon all the way out. And when you do that, he gets grabbed. The guy grabs the end of the barrel. And stupid as fuck to do that.
They did that thing with the butt of the weapon way high on the shoulder on the movie LA? Battle of LA. The Battle of LA. Battle of Los Angeles.
Battle of Los Angeles. Okay.
They did that.
I don't remember that. It's something you shouldn't do because you need to maintain control of the weapon. So what you're trained to do in the military, like today, they do this thing where they pull the weapon in, it goes under the arm, so you have control over the weapon with your arm, the weight of your arm. And you pull it in close. And the reason why is to keep somebody, when you hit that corner, you turn that weapon going around that corner, and it's harder for them to grab the end of the weapon because if they try to, when you have it pulled in like that, you just pull the trigger. And that's why they do it.
Now,
I showed it to Anima some of the CQB training about, especially if you have to do CQB one man versus more. And the first thing you're taught is how to pull your weapon in when going around doors through doors, and around corners.
Did you explain what it stands for, CQB? Because not everybody might know that.
Well, it's close quarter battle tactics.
Yeah.
It's also called
Oh.
MOUT, MOUT.
About the conflict, what I say, I like to clarify. When I said I didn't like the characters, it is not that they are badly written. It is their attitudes.
Well, some of them are meant to be unlikable.
Yes, yes.
Like you're supposed to dislike the female.
The president?
No, the soldier.
Yeah, the soldier and the president. Soldier and the
I
president.
feel for the president because she doesn't know what she's doing, and she knows that she can't turn over control. Otherwise, it'll become a fucking mess.
Hmm.
So, yeah, Glenn, you too, buddy. We're gonna get out of here. Done talking. Everybody have a good Monday. Hope you have a good week this week. We'll see you again on Wednesday. Don't forget tomorrow. You've got a new show with the Chief, and I saw it and I can't remember what it was.
Oh my god, that is a really difficult name for me. It's
Oh, there,
It-
the cat got it.
the Clove Hitch Killer. That one, which is partially based on a true story about a serial killer in a little town.
Yeah, I'm going to his email, Patrick Jordan. Yeah, the Clove Hitch Killer. It's on Netflix. I think I've seen it. Yeah, I think I've seen that one. So, yep, that'll be tomorrow. Wednesday, we'll be doing a movie. I don't know what it is. I don't care right now.
I know.
Wednesday
Josie and the
Wednesday is
Pussycats.
Josie and the Pussycats.
We watched that last
Josie
night.
and the Pussycats. Long tails and ears for hats.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, it's for close quarter. It's for urban combat. Well, CQB is also for just building clearing. Yep, it's a subset. It's a specific subset.
What about getting out here?
Yeah, I was dealing with fucking 11 Alpha.
He's not letting
God,
you go.
woman.
Don't you realize that?
No, it's important what he said. That was important what he said. So anyway, bye guys. Fuck off.